Alright everybody, welcome back to the second episode of this new Let's Play series. And I think I've come up with a name. You might have seen in the title in the first one, but I'm terrible with names. I wanted to kind of have a name kind of ironed out for the park before we begin. Just so I can kind of, with videos and stuff, kind of have the name of the park, and so I don't have to go back and change some thumbnails and do some different things. Um, but I'm thinking about Wildwind Amusement Park. Um, and I just saw that name somewhere, and I was like, it kind of is similar to like Carowinds, and I'm modeling a lot of this, or at least some of it, off of Carowinds. So to me, it kind of seems like a name that could fit and could be a part of potentially a Cedar Fair kind of chain. And so that's what I'm going with, Wild Winds, or at least my thought. What y'all's thoughts on that? Because obviously this is, it could always be changed. So yeah, I just wanted to hear thoughts on that. And so for today's episode, I might end up working on this more. That's not going to be my first order of business. The first order of business is going to be trying to kind of iron out how I want the main entrance plaza to work. And so my idea for kind of this park at this point is that you'd have your kind of entrance plaza here, right? And then you're kind of going to kind of have the main entryway, but that these sections will you'll kind of have a section over here, um, and maybe put something in the middle where it kind of diverts the path two directions, so something that kind of changes the line of sight. um, yeah, so we'll see. So I'm trying to have stuff kind of ironed out in my head of like where I potentially want to put other coasters in different sections. But we'll see. So what I'm planning on doing this episode is building the main entrance area, main entrance plaza, and hopefully working on this some as well and getting a better idea of kind of how I want this secondary part to look. But that's not a guarantee. So we'll kind of see where I get started with. But I'll see you guys after the first update. So we finally have guests in the park, and it's because I put in a couple restrooms. So it's kind of cool now to see how the guests are kind of navigating and walking through kind of this area, and kind of sitting here pointing and looking while we wait for the coaster to come by. Is the coaster even running? Let's see. Yeah, it's supposed to be testing. Yeah, well, this is cool though. Really, really cool vibe on this bridge. I like it a lot. Now I got this off the workshop because I might use this for some inspiration because I just really like this kind of entryway here. Like I really like that a lot. Um, so I might use that kind of for inspiration on trying to not necessarily copy it piece by piece, but I am trying to get better at building. So kind of using this concept and idea and seeing how they made that. Just using these box lights here. You've got the poles. I don't know if I necessarily like using those wooden posts with that color, but I think this is kind of cool. And then using this as a edible sign to kind of create that light. Like I said, I'm trying to model it semi after Carowinds, getting inspiration from the buildings and stuff there. Ooh, I like that fence. Oh, that's a cool idea for a fence. Okay. Um, I'll show you guys what I've done so far, and I'm just torn on the colors. So I'll talk to Jasmine about some because I did have everything this color, and she talked about how she just thought there was no kind of color to it and didn't necessarily like it. And I'm going to delete this building because I did like the idea of having it kind of rounded, but I just don't necessarily like how that turned out. It's going to be kind of tough to, like, there's some parts of it that I like, but it's going to be kind of tough to create the ticket lines. So I'll probably do something similar to what I've done here on the other side. And like I said, I need to recolor this. But I do like the look of this restroom. It's kind of, because this one is, if you're at Carowinds or walking around Google Maps, once you walk into the park, they've got a restroom similar to this. The difference is the roof. Because I couldn't get the roof how it is, how they have it. Excuse me, still got a cough. Um, oh, this is not centered. I need to move that around a little bit. Um, But one thing that's kind of different and weird is they've got two doors just on the front underneath the restroom sign. So to me, it's supposed to be like, oh, hey, here are the restroom doors, but they're actually over this way. But I do like the idea of having kind of a little fence here blocking off the visible, your visibility into the restrooms. So you got the men and women's restroom. And I just carried the fencing along this way. And so this is going to be kind of the backstage area, a little backstage area. And so I created this kind of other dimension here to add some air ducts and stuff. And so that's what I'll kind of do next. I'm just trying to figure out the colors, and they'll know get figured out. But I'm trying to get better at building details with buildings, and so um, it's a process for me. But I do really like the look overall of this. And then I started to add in some foliage just to kind of block off the where you'll kind of have some semi backstage from guest view. And so, for example, when you're walking into the park, or if you're in theory right here, you don't want to be able to see some backstage stuff right there. So I raised the terrain a little bit, started adding some trees, and I'll kind of fledge this part out more, kind of once I know what exactly this part's going to look like. So my next step is to figure out the colors that I want for this building and the building over here. And as Jasmine says, like, what are the main colors of the park? And I said, I don't know. So I got to figure that out. I'm thinking maybe going with the kind of blue because I've got this um, Orion style blue here at the entrance, which that's awesome how the guests are just looking at that and watching. That is amazing. Um, yeah, so I'll see you guys on the next update. And on the next update, we should have a full entrance area. All right, so we are here at the next update, and this is the second to last update. And I just love how this has turned out. Walking around in first person view is just really, really cool. And just wait for the coaster to come by. There we go. It's at the top of the lift hill. And so, I mean, I think this gives really good views throughout the park. I mean, it's not exact to Fury, which that was never my intention was for it to be exact. It's for it to be modeled and similar to where if somebody were to just hop on and see this, or that they would be able to notice, oh, they probably got that from Fury 325. And so I'm really excited to see just how ultimately this turns out as we see the coaster come by and fly over the. Oh, that is so cool. So I think my favorite the thing I'm most proud about so far, I think that turnaround. I think it's pretty darn good compared to what Fury actually is. And so now we've got. I'm not done with this, and that's why it's not the last update. But I wanted to show you kind of what I've been working on, and for anybody who's wondering kind of where I get some of these ideas from for this particular plaza, it's not necessarily in the same spot, but get onto Google Maps, check out Fury, hit the people button where you can walk around and look at it. And they've got a sign similar to this that says home to the world's fastest Giga Coaster. And technically, our Giga Coaster right here goes just as fast as Fury. So we're going to say it's home to the world's fastest Giga Coaster. And yeah, and so I'm trying to model the entrance off it. It's not anything that's overly spectacular or crazy, but it's just going to kind of be this modern looking entrance here. And, I might end up changing the colors of the supports there because since those are gray and those are blue, that could end up being something that I change. Like I could end up changing kind of the main surrounded supports because I did use those wide coaster supports there. And but yeah, so this is how this is looking. So let's look from an overhead view now. Oops, sorry. Yeah, so really, really happy with this. And like I said, I think I told y'all in the last one, I'm using shops here to make it look like guests are actually going to be up here. But I'm going to put up a sign for tickets. I want this to be memberships. And I'm going to create a little bit more space here because in real life, there's actually just a gate here, so you can kind of actually see into the park this way. Excuse me. Um, I'm doing the same thing over here. So it's not all going to be fully connected. And so I'm contemplating on do I want this to actually be a walk in building or do I want it just to kind of be a facade? So we'll see. I might put glass windows here and just make it kind of a walk in building, but we'll see. So that will be on the final update because what I plan on getting done in this episode is finishing up this area here. And then the next episode we'll start on this Main Street area and potentially have our first ride put in. But I've also kind of laid out the path how I kind of want the initial part. And so this is going to be, I plan on having a building probably here that's got lockers. And then a building over here that's going to be guest relations that will also include a stroller section because if you've seen my past couple parks, I got to make a stroller section. Um, or that stroller section could be up here somewhere. It just depends on the space because this is going to be a little walkway, which I might have made this too wide, where it'd be just too tedious. But I'm going to have, like they have at Carowinds and like Nerd Chacho did on his Chacholandia, is have a little drive underneath for the staff and employees and maintenance workers to get their car over to this area. And then here, everything's going to kind of disperse out this way and this way. And I want some kind of focal flat right here. Like I love the Chero swing, I think is what it's called, because I just love the visual of that. So that might be right there. It's kind of the first ride in the park. And if this is the first video anybody's watching, we did a vote on the channel, and the coasters that we have in the park is we're going to have this Fury Giga Coaster. We're going to have a swinging arrow suspended coaster. We're going to have a launch Gerstlauer coaster similar to Mystery Mines, like the Infinity model. So it'd be more of a family variety, so not too many inversions, if really any. And then a family wooden coaster, so something like Woodstock Express, like Blue Streak, something like that. And then a B&M invert, an RMC hybrid, which I kind of want to do. My thought for the RMC was going to be kind of out in this space and just have it kind of go off into the mountains a little bit and have maybe the end of it kind of resemble Boulder Dash, which is not an RMC, but the fact that you can kind of, from the pathway, see it coming back down the mountain. So that's kind of my thought with that one. And I think that's it. B&M, yeah. And so then if we had extra, if there's enough space, doing a B&M wing coaster. Um, so that's kind of the plan for the park. And I want to, last time I did about 14, 15 flat rides. I want to keep it to about 10 just to have more space to be able to add on detail. And so the last update is going to be this whole area complete, but I absolutely love how it's turned out so far. And I'll see you guys in the last update. Welcome to the final update, and here is the finished product for our entrance plaza. As I am really, really happy with how this has turned out. And to be completely honest, which is funny how, the different shading, this color looks different than this one, but it's just because of the lighting. It's still the same blue. I think it's like that sapphire color, which is the color I used right here. And I'm not married to that sign, so if anybody has an idea about something that could possibly work more, I'm totally up for it. But I do like how this turned out, and I use the coconut. So if you take the coconut piece, let's see if I can, yeah. So if you take this and color it kind of a darker brown, it gives that look of kind of mulch. Since we don't have TMTK to where we can, utilize that um, that mulch. And sorry guys, my voice sounds off. I should have said this earlier in the video, but I'm still recovering from a cold and stuff. So, um, coughing and stuff like that. So I hope everybody's feeling healthy this time of year. But yeah, really happy with how this turned out. So let's kind of go through some of the details of it. And I haven't, which by the way, this right here, we can look at this at the end for fun. This is just a family coaster I made for fun. It's not anything like this can be in the park because I still love making coasters, obviously. And I just got one night, I was like, oh, let me just kind of start getting my idea for the family coaster. Um, so it's not exactly what I want because I had to turn the friction down a lot to really make it finish the route. um, because like I said, this took me maybe 20 minutes. I wasn't taking too much time on it. Yeah, we can look at that at the end just for fun. But yeah, so I showed you guys all this yesterday. This is just oops, hold on. That's just the basic. Um, oh, I said yesterday. I meant to say last episode. That's just the basic facade pieces. I put these misting things on the side, and this is just basically all on a grid because those pieces are on a grid. You got the wall pieces on a grid, and then here I've just laid down the rough cement concrete, and then this one is just a tad bit above. It's just a small layer above. Actually, it's not even letting me click on it. But yeah, and so it's the I think it's the castle, yeah, castle quarter roof pieces. And for anybody who doesn't know, if you just layer it just a little bit above, it's gonna show up, right? And I had to actually raise this a little bit higher than I wanted because of how this worked out over here. And what I mean by that is this is an awkward shape for a building, and to get some nice flooring inside the building, unless if you use something that doesn't have a pattern, you can't really overlay the flooring at all. So what I had to do was I had to raise this up to where it was high enough to where it covered up this fencing right here. Um, Not this fencing, this pathing. So I had to raise it up a little bit more than I was intending to. So it's cutting off their feet a little bit more, but there's a reason for that. Or I mean, I guess it's how it had to work out. But yeah, so we got the guest services building, and I decided to kind of go with like kind of a commercial look to it. And this is I put a couple of ATM machines in there. And in Carowinds, what they have, it's not the building doesn't look like these buildings don't necessarily look like the ones at Carowinds, just because we don't have the type of roofing that they have and the type of material they use. But it's similar in terms of kind of the style. Now this one does round; it's kind of rounded a little bit like I initially had it, but that was just very kind of tough to make it look nice. So I kind of went with the more boxy square look. But this building will extend down here. I'm just gonna try to figure out, do I want to kind of use a different building style or building piece as I kind of move into this area, because this is what we're gonna be working on next episode. This whole area here to kind of get the entryway done. And I'm at about 19% right now. If I were to delete that coaster right there, so um, excuse me. Yeah, so I went with this, and we've got these posters up inside. This would be kind of the area where, it's guest relations, as it says on the outside, or guest services. I probably should say guest relations. Um, but yeah, so here we've got the employees. I need to change one of their shirt colors or something like that. But then we've got you'd have like information up here for cost of stuff. This is supposed to be a keyboard. Maybe I can use like a little wire cord or something. We'll see. Um, But yeah, if you have any idea of what we could put on here to make it look more like a keyboard, I'd love to hear that. Or if you have a piece that works better, because I can always come back and rework on stuff. And I decided to use this kind of blue trim in here because it kind of continues with the coloring and it breaks up the wall from the this portion here. So I like how that turned out. I might go around and change this to that blue trim, um, but I don't know about that yet. I might keep that. Actually, no, I'll probably keep that wooden trim there. And then I made these custom windows, nothing too fancy, just using basic shapes. And I think this works out really well. I thought about making lines here, but I didn't want to kind of make this look not as neat and nice. So here they just get in line. And the way that I think I said this in a previous update, the way that I got around this, because I don't like using what's it called, using the fast pass stuff, because using 2 meter pass for your fast pass lanes just absolutely kill the counter. And if you're having to do that for every ride, that literally will like take 3 or 4 rides off your park just by doing that. So I put food stalls in here because if I put information booths, nobody would ever go to them because I don't do the fast pass thing. And so there's tickets right there. And what I'm really happy here with guest services is I put a barrier down here, so for the most part they walk through the door, which is pretty cool to see that it's working out that way. And then now we have our entrance gates, which, like I said previously, I modeled this, kind of saw what pieces the creator used, kind of, especially for this, I saw what pieces he used, ended up kind of using the same thing, kind of creating it. And, but I'm doing it on dual sided here. And then I like the idea of this, having this kind of turnstile as you leave or something. So this would be kind of where the guests exit. And I still need to put signs up right here. And then you got it on this side as well, and this would be like wheelchair entry and stuff like that. So this would I need to figure out if I kind of need to put a sign somewhere that's like maybe like wheelchair access and stuff like that. And I put this bar kind of going across that kind of is the part of the support for um, this system here. And then I just put the Planet Coaster thing instead of putting like the sign of food and stuff like that. I mean, you're interested or entering the park, so man, I just wish we could like create our own images and update them or upload them. That'd just be, I mean, that'd be amazing. So yeah, really happy with how that's turned out. I love the entrance. It looks very similar to Carowinds if you look at a photo in terms of like being able to make it close. I do like the sign up there. I believe those were created by Mavs Fan 4. And then here we got this restroom area, which I don't think I've completely showed you guys before. You know, you just got, I made a custom door there because it drives me crazy how in this game all the doors are just flat. Just doesn't make any sense to me. So it's supposed to be a water fountain. Um, I need to look back on the Bro Coaster and see how they did it because this doesn't really, it looks more like where you wash hands instead of water fountains. So I'll probably correct that a little bit. These are going to be like staff rooms or janitorial stuff. And then you've got the women's restroom here. Um, and then this area back here is going to be a small backstage. I just haven't done anything with it yet, like putting stuff on the roof for air ducts and stuff like that, because I don't know kind of what this area is going to look like yet. I assume I'm trying to figure out what kind of coaster will be in this spot. Like this might be the kids area. This might be the area for that suspended coaster. So we'll kind of see because once we come out here, we're then going to kind of disperse to different areas. So I need to have an idea because I plan on having this like a maintenance road coming up this way to get from both sides of the park. And then one thing I like too is creating this kind of separation here where we've got this, we've got this, why am I blanking now? Whatever this tile is here, which is going to kind of separate from this part of the park here. But it creates that kind of separation where buildings will be on here. I might put some tables and stuff out here if there's like a food spot for people to sit and eat and stuff like that. Really happy with how it's turned out though. Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions as always. If there's any ideas that you have that might kind of enhance this area, just please let me know. I'm always up for ideas because as I've said before, I'm trying to get better at this game. And I think I am. I'm just trying to get better with building and making more detail and stuff like that. So super happy. Like I said, probably make a little walkway here for the janitors to get back here, put a little staff room here, kind of like I did over here where the staff can enter and leave and stuff. Yeah, so let's before we go, like I said, we'll go on a ride on this coaster here. This is not necessarily going to be the one that's in the park. Yeah, so that was the little family coaster, a little bit of pops of airtime. Just made that for fun. Who knows, might make a POV of it just for fun as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for all your support and for continuing to kind of support Jasmine and I on this channel as our channel continues to grow. And we are about 9 months since creating the channel, so it's been great to kind of see um, how the channel's grown and stuff like that. And thank you guys so much. As always, like I said, love to hear your thoughts and opinions and look forward to talking to you guys next week. Have a great rest of your day and a great rest of your week.